In this video, we will show you how to replace your engine's water pump. Let's get started. Okay friends, let's get started on our job. The first thing we're going to have to do is make sure the engine is cool to the touch. Once you've done that, make your way over to the coolant reservoir. Carefully remove the cap along the top. Give it a quick inspection and set it aside. The next thing we'll do is make our way safely underneath the driver's side front of the vehicle. Along the bottom corner of the radiator, you're going to find the petcock, or the drain. Make sure you have a coolant collection bucket underneath the area to recycle the fluid properly. I'll continue on with a hose that fits just over this area. With that directing into the bucket, use a 19mm wrench to loosen this and start draining the coolant. Once you've done that, you can make your way back up top. In the engine compartment, you can see exactly where the water pump is located. You're going to have to loosen each of these 4 10mm headed mounting bolts that hold the pulley to the water pump. Don't fully remove them, we're only loosening them. Let's start removing our serpentine belt. Before you remove the belt, have a close look at all of your pulleys. You'll notice the serpentine belt goes over some and it goes under some. Pay attention to the routing. Now once you know that, continue on over to your serpentine belt tensioner. We'll use a 3/8 drive ratchet to fit directly into the square hole, and then we can turn this clockwise to relieve tension from the belt. After that, we can grab onto the belt and carefully pull it off of the alternator. There it is, friends. Now let's quickly have a look at our serpentine belt. Make sure it doesn't look like the backing is damaged. And also make sure that the grooves don't look like they're dry rotted and cracked in any way. Assuming it looks good, go ahead and set that aside. Make your way back underneath the front driver's side of the car. We're going to close that drain. Make sure it's nice and snug with our 19mm wrench. Obviously, it's just plastic. You don't want to strip it. I'll just remove my hose. After that, go ahead and wipe down your mess. Now let's continue on to removing each of our 4 10mm headed bolts. After you've taken those off, you should be able to remove the pulley. If it feels as though it's stuck on there, carefully pry it out of position. We'll give that a quick inspection and set it aside. Clean the engine around where the water pump mounts. Continue on to sliding your coolant collection bucket under this area. Now we can move along to dismounting the water pump from the engine. For this, you'll find 4 13mm headed bolts that make their way around, holding the water pump to the engine. Remove all 4. Start down at the bottom one, it's a little harder to get to. Inspect your hardware, set it aside. Now that one's out and inspected, I'll just put it back in a couple threads. Spray some penetrant around the water pump. Now we'll give it a couple taps with a hammer to break it free. Remove your water pump from the engine. There it is, friends. With the water pump out of there, continue on to cleaning up the mounting area. All along the inside of this circle right here needs to be clean and free of any debris. As you can tell, we have some rust in ours. Also, you have the flat area along the front of the engine that the water pump mounts against. You want to make sure that's clean and free of any debris as well. Go ahead and use a scraper or some sandpaper and clean it up. All right, so once you have the engine perfectly cleaned up, it's time to get ready for our installation. Now from the back side of the water pump, continue on to putting on your brand new O-ring gasket. Looking along the water pump, you can see that there is a groove for it to fit into. Let's slide this into place. Double check it all the way around. Before we get ready to install the brand new water pump, make sure you clean and inspect your mounting bolts. All right, let's get ready to install the brand new water pump. Put it in position, lining up all 4 of your mounting holes. We'll slide this in as much as we can. Continue on by starting in all 4 of your mounting bolts. Once they're in there, go ahead and snug them up. Once each of the mounting bolts are snug, torque them to 18 foot-pounds. Now that the water pump is mounted to the engine, continue on by cleaning up the area. Pay special attention to make sure there is no debris inside any of the grooves on any of your pulleys, including the harmonic balancer. Next, we'll continue on to cleaning up the water pump pulley. You'll notice on our application, there's a lot of buildup inside this area. Just go ahead and clean that out of there. You also want to pay special attention to the inside of this hole. You can see there's rust on this one. And if we turn this around, you want to make sure that the backing is clean and free of any debris as well. Once it's clean, let's get ready for the installation. We'll put that in position directly on the water pump, lining up all 4 of our mounting holes. Once you've done that, start in all 4 of those mounting bolts. Snug them up in a crisscross manner, and then torque them to 18 foot-pounds. Now, as you may have noticed, as you are trying to snug these, the pulley wants to spin on you. If that's the case, you can continue on by using 2 short 10mm headed sockets, and we'll start them onto 2 of the mounting bolts. Once you have that in position, we'll continue on with a prying device or screwdriver and carefully get in between the 2. That's going to hold the pulley still for us while we continue with our 10mm socket once again to tighten each of these mounting bolts to 18 foot-pounds. To start putting on the belt, let's make our way all the way down to the harmonic balancer or crank pulley. We'll put the belt all the way around that. Now once you've gone around that, continue on along the power steering pump pulley, all the way over on the driver's side. Now we're going to hold the slack from that side and continue on with the passenger side of the belt. Bring that around the water pump pulley. We'll continue on bringing that belt down along the serpentine belt tensioner and then down around the AC compressor. Once you have all that in position, continue on with the belt up along the top here on your idler pulley, and then take up all the slack. The next thing we're going to have to do is release tension from the tensioner to put the belt up and over the alternator pulley. Now once we have the belt up on there, you want to make sure that the belt is sitting perfectly on each one of the pulleys. You'll find that some of your pulleys have grooves for the belt to sit into. The belt needs to be sitting perfectly inside of each of the grooves. If it's off by even one tooth, you're going to destroy the belt. Okay friends, we're ready to start filling our cooling system. When you do this, you want to make sure that you use the proper manufacturer specified coolant. It's considered HOAT, or you can use global or universal coolant. Now when you fill it through this hole right here, you want to be paying attention along the passenger side of the reservoir itself. You're going to find that you have an add line right there, or a maximum line. That's where we need to get up to, and then at that point you can continue on by starting up the vehicle. Now once you have it up to that line, you're going to want to let it run in a ventilated area. Keep an eye on the temperature gauge inside the vehicle, but also make your way out here and keep an eye on this as well. What you'll find is that the coolant level starts going down in the reservoir as air bubbles start making their way out of the cooling system. Continue adding to the reservoir right here until it stays at the maximum line right along here, and you find that you have plenty of heat coming out of the vents and your cooling fans turn on. Aside from that, go ahead and put on your cap and take it for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.